Hello, in today's video we'll talk about assets and asset collections in TopBraid EDG. TopBraid EDG is used to capture and govern different assets. Asset is anything you may want to capture and manage in TopBraid EDG. TopBraid EDG is shipped with many predefined types of assets. In fact, more than 300 different asset types. And you see some examples of these asset types here. And here is a diagram that shows you the key asset types in TopBraid EDG, those that are direct subclasses of the class asset. And here are some more. Now, if we zoom into one of them, let's say enterprise asset, we'll see even more subclasses or subtypes. And if we zoom into one of those, let's say information asset, we'll see additional subclasses with things like forms, documents, and so on. For each of those, TopBraid EDG defines the type of data that you may want to capture about such assets in a form of properties. Here's another diagram that shows not just our asset types, such as information asset and its subclasses, but also the kind of properties that have been predefined in TopBraid EDG for this type of assets. Now, assets are organized into asset collections. Asset collections are containers for assets, and just like there are different types of assets, TopBraid EDG also defines different types of asset collections. You could think of each individual asset collection as a small knowledge graph. Asset collections in TopBraid EDG can include each other, and assets within them can refer to assets in other asset collections. For example, you may have a database for which information is captured in a data asset collections connected to a business application that processes this database, and this business application is stored in a technical asset collection or systems catalog. So with this individual knowledge graphs are connected to each other to form a larger enterprise knowledge graph managed by TopBraid EDG. You could think about TopBraid EDG as a composition of different knowledge graphs supporting adaptive data governance. Here on the left, you see the various different asset collection types that are shipped with TopBraid EDG. And let's take a look at them in more detail. When you're working in TopBraid EDG, you see the collection types available to you in the left-hand blue navigator. In your installation of TopBraid EDG, you may see a smaller number that I'm showing here because the type of asset collections that you have available depends on your license and license terms. For each of those asset collection types, there are a main asset type that controls the type of information that is being stored in this type of collection. So for example, for glossaries, we store glossary terms. For data assets, these are like data dictionaries. We store information about data assets, both logical and physical, and so on. And then there are a number of special asset collection types. First, reference data sets and data graphs. They are special in that sense that TopBraid EDG does not have a predefined model for them. When you create those collections of this type, you have to select an ontology that defines the type of assets that you will be storing in this asset collection. And the ontology is also an asset collection in TopBraid EDG. It contains classes or asset types and their characteristics such as properties, rules, and so on. Then there are two special asset collection types, content tag sets and crosswalks. They are special because they don't contain new assets. They only contain links between certain types of assets. In case of crosswalks, these are the links that typically connect similar terms or similar codes. So you would have a crosswalk between two different taxonomies or between two different reference data sets or glossaries, establishing some equivalence between information in them. And content tag sets are typically used to connect documents with terms from controlled vocabularies that classify them. Now, one last special type of an asset collection is a governance model, and it is special in that it is a singleton. There is only one governance model in a given installation of TopBraid EDG, while all the other collection types you may and typically do have multiples, like multiple glossaries, multiple data dictionaries, and multiple crosswalks and so on. In case of governance model, there's a single one, and it contains governance assets that determine your governance processes that are instrumented by TopBraid EDG. So it contains your governance roles, your governance policies, issues, governance areas or subject areas that you use to classify asset collections. Please see a separate video about governance model, operational governance model in TopBraid EDG. Now let's take a look at an example of the kind of asset collections and assets you may have for your implementation. Here we're using a small example for a fictional medical enterprise, and going up from the bottom at the center panel, you see that there's a glossary, there's a two reference data set containing some common used codes in the medical domain, RX norm and ICD-10. There are also a corpus asset collection for form templates, and then going up we have some data dictionaries for different data sources used in this organization. We also have a data asset collection containing a logical model that is being used. Then we have some technical asset collections such as catalog of the information system, and we have a few enterprise asset collection for hospital facilities and staff. This is used to capture to describe different processes. So we have the processes and activities, and we also have information assets. And then going further, there are some lineage models describing how different artifacts are produced. Artifacts like patient invoice and patient discharge. On the left here, we see the ontologies that are used here. And primarily, these are pre-built ontologies that comes with TopBraid EDG, but also some custom ontologies for, let's say, reference data and other models. And on the right, we see a variety of governance assets that are stored in the governance asset collection. And as I've already mentioned, the kind of asset collection types that you see and use are determined by the package and sometimes add-on module that you have purchased. And here are the key packages in TopBraid EDG. Each of those packages determine the type of asset collections that you have available. Thank you for watching.